Hi, and Happy New Year. Welcome back. I'm Lance Dacy, otherwise known as Big Agile. And I'm so glad to kick off our 2026 series with the theme that I want to talk about for this week is AI native. Now, I feel like 2025 was atrocious in many ways. I find it very disappointing on how leaders and teams, for the most part, approached AI. Kind of became a bad word, I feel like, and and I think that's how learning happens. That's great, experience it and all that good stuff. But what we do with it is more important. And so I want to focus on the continuous improvement of what happened in 2025 to all of these companies that and all of this fear that was out there in the industry. So let's just reset that. I'm still going to use the term AI. I just think that we are dusting ourselves off. I think we learned a great deal, or I hope you did from last year. And so let's dive in. And I feel like my catchphrase for this is if your 2026 AI plan is we bought a tool, told people to use it, well, you're not becoming AI native. You're just speeding up your existing dysfunction painfully efficiently, I might add. So I'd like to focus, the next 5 minutes or so and lay out what I think AI native product teams will look like in 2026. And I kind of like that term AI native. So we're going to talk about what changes in workflow, roles, and operating model. Even more important sometimes is what is going to stay the same if you care about quality and trust. And then I'd like to review, like a 3 do's for leaders, for teams, some failure modes to be mindful of. And then I'd like to talk about maybe an experiment you can run that might not wreck morale with the term AI. So I want to start with a quick story because this is real life. And I'd like to highlight that a few months ago, I actually worked with a team that was rolling out AI. And the way that they described this is they really were turning on some coding assistants. And I'll leave some of the names out of it, but y'all probably know if you're in technology, you know what I'm talking about. And, leadership was encouraging everyone to move faster, use these AI tools to do that. And I tell you what, for about 2 weeks, it really looked promising. It looked great. I was kind of baffled myself. I've dabbled in it a little bit, but not seen it really at scale with teams. It kind of took a little bit before we saw that. And you could see this manifested by more tickets, that were being closed. Really, what you look at is the heat map of pull requests. Like there's more pull requests and more activity into the code base. But then I saw the system start fighting back. I think this is the end story for a lot of teams is, the review queues were growing. The test debt is what I like to call it, started to pile up. And then you got, security team members get really nervous because we couldn't really tell where some of these changes were happening. So I feel like the product got flooded, very similar to like you start your car and you're flooding it with gas. But it was with, half-baked output. And I think the team really started whispering the thing that leaders might hate hearing is, are we still valued here? Are we going to be replaced? We're trying to manage that message because it happened so rampantly in 2025. And so that's really the moment I want you to avoid because I don't feel like AI is about replacing teams. It should be about replacing dysfunction. And so the 2026 baseline to me is that AI is really just going to be part of the delivery system now, whether you like it or not, or whether you're ready for it or not. That's what's happening. And so, there's a lot of good data out there, a lot of good sources that all of y'all can read. But I think Gartner, even though they're a big behemoth, they have a top strategy technology trend for 2026 that I thought was really interesting. And I see it basically as a signpost that AI is moving from tool to infrastructure. We use that word a lot in technology. And so I feel like there's 3 trends that matter a lot for product teams when that happens. And I'm going to coin it with AI native development platforms, I think is really what we're going to start seeing. We're going to see AI really baked into the way that software gets built. And I don't mean just with the coding agents. I feel like multi-agent systems, agents coordinating work across steps and teams, not just some one prompt at a time where we learn how to do that. That was so yesteryear, with that. And I also feel like this thing, we'll call digital provenance, the ability to prove, what created an artifact and whether that artifact is trustworthy. We have to get better at that. And so I think Gartner's right that all three of those are showing up as trends in their report. And I also like to reflect on Dora's report. 2024 is still kind of valid, but that research gives the grounding that, delivery performance is about building a system that can ship changes quickly and safely with stability. And I think AI can help with that, but it can also harm it if it increases rework and instability. So here's the simple definition of what AI native means. Okay. So AI native means that AI is basically integrated into how work flows through the system, how trust is maintained. And it's not some bolted on idea on the side of these broken workflows. So I feel like what might need to change in 2026 around workflow roles and operating models. So let's talk about workflow changes first of all. We want to manage flow like it's your job, because it is. If you're a team member, flow is your job. Now, AI can increase output, and if you've got bottlenecks, you'll just hit those bottlenecks faster. I feel like AI native teams have to get serious about smaller slices of work, tighter feedback loops, fewer handoffs, clear work in progress limits, more automation around the testing, releasing, and responding to incidents. And I don't know, man, we've been saying that for years. Now it's just making it more important. And maybe the use of AI can help us focus on that a little bit more, because I tell teams all the time, if your work lives in queues, the queue kind of becomes your product. We lose sight of what is it that we're building and what problem are we trying to solve. So we want to be mindful of that. Now, role changes, I want to talk about how, new responsibilities will show up. And I don't necessarily, I don't mean new titles and new org chart and things like that, but responsibilities that basically become non-negotiable for product development teams. And the first one is something around AI stewardship. So how are models used? How are they evaluated? How are they governed? I think provenance and auditability, what touched what and who approved what, is going to become, even more important. I think platform enablement is going to be a big focus so that teams don't reinvent the same tooling, 30 times. And we've been struggling with that for many years, but I think AI is going to make that a central theme as well. And then I want to go back to digital provenance. I think that matters here because it's how you scale trust, not just speed. Like if you want to go a lot faster, you want to also prove that the way you're going faster is meaningful. It's not just we're going faster. We've got checks and balances along the way. So that leads me to the operating model. What are some things that we might see change in that? So changes like decision latency, I think, is really what's going to become the enemy. Because if it takes you weeks to decide something, AI won't save you. It'll just generate more artifacts for the meeting that you still can't make a decision in. So we have to be more decisive, and we have to have a way to look at that data and analyze it. And I'm a data guy, I love analytics and things like that, but I'm also very decisive. And I think teams need to adopt that as well. Leadership needs to embed that, but it's not like you want to adopt that blindly. I think AI native operating models are going to reduce that latency with, clear decision rights, explicit guardrails on what we're looking at, faster inspect and adapt cycles. But I feel like what stays the same for our Agile folks, because I still play in that space, is empiricism, focus, and transparency. Those things still matter, and they're the antidote to running haphazardly. I have that motto, make haste slowly. We want to go faster, but carefully. And so we want to have clear boundaries on that. So I think if you remember one thing, remember this: the complex work that we still do in product development requires empiricism. That doesn't change. So keep the basics, transparency on, what's in progress and what's risky. You want to have inspection with real user feedback and real data delivery or real delivery data. adaptation based on evidence, not the politics of the organization. And so I think in order to, satisfy those requirements, let's talk about three categories and then we'll start closing. The three to-dos for leaders, I think, is redesign the system before you scale AI. Kind of look at the system and make sure that it's set up and the flow dynamics are set up appropriately for that. So you want to fix, workflow clarity, where are the bottlenecks in the systems, and where is decision latency. We want to fix all of that first. I think another thing is we want to make trust visible, require provenance, require psychological safety so that people can give you bad data, bad information earlier. If you're the last person to know something, you're going to have a big cost of fixing those problems. So also, if we can't explain where the code or content came from, we can't scale responsibly. So provenance is a really important part of that. And then I'd like y'all to address as leaders the job fear, address that with respect. So I'd like us, let's practice saying it plainly. We are changing how work gets done. We are investing in you to grow with it. If you don't say those things, silence can create rumors and resistance, and kind of builds this cancer that you can't identify until it's too late. So be clear about that. Yes, we're going to have to change how we work, but we're going to grow with it and we're going to invest in you to do that. All right, now if you're on a team, what are some things that we can do? Use AI to tighten up your feedback loops. Don't skip thinking. Just use AI to help summarize data and information, draft tests, summarize PRs, propose refactors. But humans still own the correctness of the system. So don't lose sight of that. Don't let AI just replace all of your thought. I think that's what a lot of people were getting caught up in 2025 is all this research that they see on how the brain's being affected by not critically thinking anymore. Don't let that happen to you. All right. Update your, definition of done that includes AI assisted work, the provenance, the governance around that. Include evaluation checks, security checks, provenance notes, if you will. Instrument outcomes, not activity. Really try to focus on that. Track things like lead time, stability, rework, recovery. DORA's guidance is a solid baseline for that. Now, 3 failure modes to avoid, I think, with this new AI native theme that I want to talk about. AI on top of dysfunction will really just give you the same handoffs, the same cues, the same politics, really just faster chaos. I kind of call it a shadow AI, if you will. Quiet tool usage. When we have unclear data exposure, there's no audit trail, that tends to make leadership panic, and they're going to ban everything and put all of these ossified and calcified processes in place, these checks and balances. Be mindful of output inflation, more tickets, more code, more docs. Outcomes don't improve. Burnout could because of that. And it just becomes hard to manage. So one of the first step things that we can do, a simple experiment that's safe, is run a 2-week AI native flow slice. Choose one small part of your product, pick one thin vertical slice, and use AI maybe to draft a test plan or generate initial tests and kind of look through them. Use AI to draft release notes, maybe a customer facing summary, record provenance. What did AI touch? What humans approved the measure before and after? What did the metrics look like? Cycle time, rework incidents. Pick some of those things and try them out. The goal is not perfection. The goal is learning within those guardrails to help us become better. So my closing for you today is AI native product teams in 2026 are not the teams that have the most AI tools. They're going to be the teams with the clearest flow, the fastest learning, and the strongest trust in the organization. And we've known that. We see the data all the time on high-performing teams. So try it out. If you run a 2-week sprint or you do Kanban or whatever it might be, try that 2-week slice. Measure what changes, keep what works out, throw out what doesn't. And to me, that's how real teams are going to modernize without losing their soul. Too often they're just walking around with tombstones in their eyes. So practice being an AI native team. I'm going to help you along the way. So this first quarter, I've got a whole set of topics that I've really tried to sit down during the holidays and think about. So I'd love for you to like this video, subscribe it, share it with people that you think would like to join us on this journey. And I will see you next week when we talk more about how to incorporate AI in 2026. See you then.